area, so you guys will be excited. But so essentially, I'm happy to be back again speaking to guidance counselors. I was a liaison officer 4 years ago visiting high schools, and it's probably one of the best jobs. I mean, you meet them on a daily basis, but these people are excited, they're happy to speak to students, and it kind of puts me back in that mode of speaking to guidance counselors again. So all that said, what the outcomes are, number one is you're going to have a better idea of exactly how universities and potentially businesses are using social media. It's kind of to their advantage to really get in the market of 17, 18-year-olds for us, or even younger than that in some cases. I should be able to answer any questions you might have along the way, so just throw out questions as you need. If there's something that's been bothering you, or something that you see your son or daughter or a student doing on social media and saying, why, what's the point of this? You can ask those questions. What essentially you'll get out of the presentation is, one, understanding more why people use social media the way they do, and two, maybe conceptualizing that into some ways that you could use it in your daily workings at the school. Any questions before we begin? No? We're good to go? All right. So, social media, JP Rains, digital strategy. Essentially, we're going to have a quiz, because I always wanted to give a quiz to teachers. So selfishly, it's me having fun. So we're going to start. Does anyone know what this guy is? Okay, yes, we're in it. Yeah. So this one, anybody? You're just throwing stuff against the wall. I like it though. You'll get there. Yes, it's share, exactly. So this symbol is kind of universal to a bunch of different networks, so you'll see it. And hashtag, we got that one right away from over here. You guys are doing better than the Sudbury guidance counselors. I did this presentation last week. Yes, number sign. And I bet like in 10 years, when you call Bell or someone and they say, you know, enter your phone number followed by the pound sign, I bet they'll be saying hashtag like 10 years from now. Yeah, so typically used on Facebook, Instagram a lot, and especially on Twitter. This one, anybody remember this one? We're going back. Pat remembers it. Yes, I heard some ICQ in the back. So ICQ is one of the first kind of social networks that existed. It really kind of caught hold in probably the mid-90s, late 90s. And it was a social network where a lot of the times people were using it as like a dating service, and they would ICQ. That was the reason why it existed. So this is one of the founding kind of, what's that? So one of the founding social networks, this led to things like MSN Messenger and Facebook and etc. Pinterest. Yeah, for sure. We know that one, right? Pinterest in 2012 combined for more social shares than any other social network combined. So talk about sharing things through Pinterest combined for more than Facebook, Twitter, and everything else. So that was in 2012. Not going to pace the same way for 2013, but needless to say, Pinterest is a huge part of marketers' lives. Anyone know this one? Oh, getting close. Not quite Vimeo, but it is a V. It's Vine. Okay, so Vine is 6-second videos that appear on Twitter. So Twitter bought this company that does videos, so now on Twitter you can embed a quick 6-second video, and the way that you take it, instead of having to edit video, which is the most cumbersome process of it, is that you can just hold your finger down on the record button, you record something, let go, then record something else, and keep moving on. So you'll probably see some of your students or you know, children or little cousins or whatever using this a lot within social media, and brands are starting to use this now. As a university, we're still playing around with it a little bit, seeing what our students do, and then letting them kind of create the conversation for us. So you did pretty well on the quiz, so kudos. You definitely beat our Sudbury guidance counselors, but that's mostly because the pound sign, you guys got that one really well. So 3 things you may not know about certain social networks. Everything on Facebook can be used in a court of law. So if you have privacy settings that say only show this to my friends or only show this to certain people, anything on there can be used in a court of law. So the most common, anyone want to guess the most common reason people would use Facebook in court? Adultery. Well, yes. Actually, yeah, you know, it's funny you say that, but Facebook, no, yeah. No, it's funny you say that because Facebook was cited in about 40% of divorces so in the US in 2012, which is crazy, right? But anyway, yes, so that's part of it, okay? That's part of it. The number one reason was insurance claims, actually. So if you're out water skiing and you're supposed to be on disability, probably not going to work out. So all those documents can be used, okay? Number two, we have essentially a funnel where we bring our prospective students to a certain page on Facebook where they can kind of get to know each other before heading off to school, and they can get a bunch of questions answered from our admissions office. And last year we had about 1,300 people like our page, which is pretty representative of the number of students that we took in first year last year. So a big portion of them are going to that page, and I'll show you why that's successful for us. Most student-facing departments at the university have a presence on Facebook, whether that's our residence office to our admissions kind of liaison area or our athletics. Most places have kind of a Facebook presence for student-facing departments. Twitter, a few things. Every single tweet, whether it's deleted in 0.2 seconds after it was tweeted, they're all archived by the Library of Congress in the US. Yeah, not a lot of people know that one, yeah. About 99% of tweets in general are public anyway, but even the private tweets are all archived as well. 550 million users on Twitter right now, and that number, 135 registrants every day, is actually gone down. It used to be 150,000 every day. So Twitter's starting to slow down a little bit. It's not as much of the wildfire as it was maybe a year ago. And what's interesting, in the last year and a half, we've seen a lot more of these 16, 17, 18-year-olds start using Twitter again, where the numbers had flatlined 2 years ago. We saw a 15% increase in that demographic in the last year. So it's kind of coming back a little bit. Students are more likely to engage with us on Twitter than any other network. They ask the most questions there. So if you look at our university page on a regular day, we'll probably get 5 or 6 different questions from students or comments from prospective students. And we also go out and seek them out because all the tweets are public, right? So when they mention Laurentian or something, you know, making up my mind, Laurentian, Guelph, Nipissing, well, we'll see that tweet and reply to them and say, hey, if you have any other questions, please let us know. Please come to our open house November 9th. Here's a link to sign up. Right? So that's our kind of proactive approach to reach out to students. And then it also kind of says like, whoa, to them, like, you know, Laurentian's kind of paying attention, right? And we've seen really positive results out of that, out of making those connections. And I'll talk about that later. LinkedIn, how many people are on LinkedIn? Just curious. Good, excellent. So this number is growing big time, especially in the professional sector, especially in the new grads. I think it's on here. Yeah, exactly. So 8 million users in Canada, pretty significant percentage of the population when you consider, you know, the working age of the population, and then you consider how much the network has penetrated. 8 million is pretty substantial. 10% of that whole thing is new students or recent grads. Okay. At the university age. LinkedIn recently launched university pages. So essentially what they're trying to do, and the reason why it makes business sense for them, is that they want to get users earlier. They want to essentially get students in first year and right even from high school, which you'll start to see over the next couple of years, joining LinkedIn before going to university. So the advantage for them is that they want to become the #1 recruiting platform for jobs. So it's a huge industry. We have 3 million company pages, but last year LinkedIn did about 40 billion in overall revenue. So that's not profit, but revenue throughout the whole sector. Okay. So when you look at advertising for jobs as a platform, LinkedIn's trying to be that #1. And that's why you're going to start to see them really advertising to students potentially in high schools, and you know, they ultimately want to be kind of included in the way that they get admitted to universities and that. It's probably not going to happen, but this is their dream, right? Does that make sense? LinkedIn, we're good? Okay. So this is a graph I created for outlining areas. Essentially, I took Facebook users in those areas, so it's kind of hard to see here, but you'll see that if you look in total, we have just over about 160,000 users of Facebook in the kind of greater Simcoe County area. Right in Barrie, if you take a 10-mile radius from the center of Barrie, you have 102,000 users. In Orillia, that's 26,000 up there. Going south around Innisfil, Bradford, Keswick, you have 24,000. So This is all data that anyone can access. So this is, as an advertiser, this is exactly what we use to say, let's target, of that 24,000, show this ad to 17-year-olds that are interested in CSI. And we'll put up an ad for forensic science. So that's kind of the data that people have access to because of these social networks. Does that make sense? Is it scary? A little bit? No? So that's what we're using here, and it's very easy to figure out this data. In fact, you could go at home on Facebook, click create ad, and then you could look at all the targeting settings. Not a lot of people do it, but it's very, very powerful. And we only pay for the people that click on it. I'm just going to do a couple fun things here. Like I was saying, Twitter usage has gone up significantly. Does everyone know what the Harlem Shake is? Okay. So just to give you a sense of how quickly it spread. So it really started to spread, let's say, on a Thursday. That was kind of when the first videos went up. Western University put up, that's their video, it's screenshots of their video. They put up their video on Friday. And by Sunday night, it had over 1 million views in 3 days. So 1 million views doesn't sound like much, but from the university's perspective, their next highest video was 70,000 views, and that took a couple years to get. So just their students posting that, they became kind of the #1, trending video for the Harlem Shake. So that's how fast it moves from, say, if you're an administrator at a university, you leave it Friday, nothing really is going on, then by the time you come back Monday, it's the biggest craze and you missed it because it's already over. That's literally how fast the cycle is. This is Instagram, and we're seeing these kinds of things every day on social media. We're seeing students kind of post pictures of view books and saying, I'm not sure which university to choose. And that's what I was talking about. That's, the posts we search for under Laurentian, for example. We'll see students posting about making their decision, right? So in case you haven't seen like hashtags being used by a 17-year-old, that's how it looks. They just hashtag a bunch of different words. What does it mean? Well, so I'll translate, I guess. What this says is, yeah, you could say I'm a little understated about university. This is stressful. I'm going to choose either Ryerson, Queens, or Laurentian. Oh my God, I don't know what to choose. So that's kind of what they're saying in that. So essentially, it's kind of like a... First of all, it's category, right? So you can click on that word and see all the posts about university, for example. But the next thing, the reason why she puts "oh my God" in a hashtag is like, that's an emotion. So she doesn't want to say, I'm feeling confused. She just put hashtag, stressful, hashtag, oh my God. So students are doing this kind of all the time. They might go, they might even do like hashtag, I have no idea what to do with my life. You know what I mean? That's yeah, because it's cooler if you do it in the hashtag. It's lame if you do it, in regular words, okay? So if you guys want to be cool, use hashtags.
I'm cooler than the hashtag.
Yeah, Justin Timberlake, yeah. So if you want to be cool, you can say, Laurentian University's visiting the guidance office next Thursday at 3 p.m., hashtag be there, hashtag awesome. And then I guarantee you'll get more. So generally we get 3 types of comments out of students, whether it's a question, it's a legitimate complaint, or legitimate question, complaint, or pride. That's most of what we see on social media as a university. I'm kind of giving you a look under the hood in terms of what we do. Now, obviously the one that I like to see the most and the one we do see the most is pride, which is good, especially around athletics. So like when our hockey team had their first home opener 2 weeks ago, there's a lot of comments coming out of alumni and students, and everyone was posting about how happy they are. Now, the biggest decision that we do on a daily basis is understanding when a student's just trying to vent or when they have a legitimate kind of concern, right? But a lot of the times they do, and what we can do is if they say, oh my God, it's super cold in the library, well, I can forward that to the library. They have a look and then see if they should reduce the temperature or not. So this is a kind of real-time feedback that we're getting from our students, unsolicited, but we're able to turn that into decisions that impact our day-to-day operations. Give you a quick overview. Essentially, the reason why the university wants to employ someone like me and our team is to influence, for example, liaison recruitment, we need to be able to put our best foot forward and really engage with students. But we also want to engage with alumni that are out there. So you're all alumnus of a university or college, probably both. And when you're out there, your university or college can either send you, a magazine. How many people get a magazine in the mail from their university or institution? Yeah, exactly. So a lot of them are, looking to shift from that to more small micro conversations along the way, whether that happens on LinkedIn, on Facebook, or just on their website. They're trying to have multiple conversations with you rather than that one magazine that comes in the mail, once a year or every 6 months. And finally, we're trying to obviously increase our brand awareness and exposure to media. So that's pretty straightforward. Essentially, there's probably over 100 different social networks that we use on campus. What we do is say, okay, well, we're going to pick 3 networks and focus on those as our primary. So for example, Facebook and Twitter and YouTube are 3 kind of primary ones. Then we choose, well, let's spend less time on these other 3. So we've very much separated our time to be able to say we could do, all of these things, but we're focusing on these 3 for today, these 3 for tomorrow, etc. We have a social media handbook that's attainable on our website. You can take a look at that if ever you're tasked with developing a social media policy. I don't wish it on anyone, but if you are, you can look at ours on our website, laurentian.ca/social media. And what we use is a distributed model of communication. So because at a university you have so many different departments operating under different circumstances, they all want to be able to promote their event or talk about what's going on that day. So they all have their own voices. They all have kind of their own Twitter account or Facebook page. And then so we use that kind of distributed model to say of the really important things that this channel is saying, let's promote that to the top and we'll kind of put that out to our network. So we use that wide network to kind of become more precise in what we're saying and become, kind of the general voice for the university community without doing all the work for those individual departments. We have, like I said, over 100 different properties. There's about, if you combine both, easily over 10,000 students that are following us on Facebook and Twitter alone. When you look at what we're doing on there, and this is getting into a bit of statistics, but I'll just say it quickly to say that on Facebook, when you interact with something, let's say you have your children on, how many people have their children on Facebook? Okay, good. So you're probably clicking on their photos more often than you would click on a neighbor's photos, for example. So when someone that's close to you So when someone that's close to you posts on social media, you're more likely to click on it. Facebook knows this, right? So the things that you click on the most are what appear in your newsfeed more often. Okay, so the way that we want to be able to measure that is that when we post something, we want to make sure that people are actually clicking on it. Otherwise, they won't see our posts over the long term. Because the way that things show up in your news feed is very much like an equation Google would use. It's assumed relevance, right? Presumed relevance. They're trying to figure out this post, how likely is it that this person's going to want to see it and click on it? Ultimately, that helps Facebook because their users become or stay engaged, right? Does that make sense? Few nods, so that's good. We're on the right track. So the reason why I put up this stat, for example, is that we have about, on our Facebook page, just about 7,000 people that follow our page. Every time we post, we have about 30% of our people will actually see that message. Okay, that's about twice as high as the industry average. And so that's a pretty positive sign for our area. But just to give you the sense of, if you have 7,000 people on a page, doesn't mean that there's 7,000 people seeing this message. It could be the page is not very good at doing Facebook, let's say, and they only have like 100 people view their post. That's because they're posting a lot. They're probably posting boring content, that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? Good. Any questions on that stuff? It can get a little technical, but I just wanted to give you a sense of how this works for us. Twitter does not work the same way. That's a good question. Twitter is only chronological. They might work a little differently in the future, but Instagram's chronological right now, but it's bought by Facebook for those people that know that. Facebook bought Instagram last year in 2012 for $1 billion, and Instagram was a company of about 14 people. So essentially they acquired the Instagram network and the people. So now they work at Facebook. And again, we have, last year anyways, we had the largest prospective student Facebook page in the province, which really helped us. I mean, also we had, about 20 to 25% increase to admissions. So when you look at that, it makes sense in terms of the numbers that we were seeing on Facebook. These are some legitimate examples. I blocked out the students' names of students that are posting on our incoming students group. So yeah, so you take the first question, for example, does anyone have the serial number for the balance or scale in the physics lab? There's no way us or our admissions team could know what the answer to that question is. But because we've connected the students with each other, there's about 700 people in this group, they're able to kind of quickly answer that question, right? So within 6 minutes on a Friday afternoon, that question was answered by one of the peers, right? So we were able to say, okay, students, connect with each other, and if you do have questions, pose them here, and if your friends can't answer them, we'll jump in and answer them. But in large part, their friends are able to answer them. So it helps us tremendously as a university community because we're fielding less requests, we're having less calls, we're having less emails. Okay. So a couple other examples. The second one was fun because they actually created a intramural basketball team off of the Facebook group. So they all knew their incoming students, no one to play basketball with, so they just kind of put it out there, created a team. And the last one came from Twitter. That's when we send our admissions cards. The person was so excited, they tagged our university, they posted a picture of themselves with the admissions card. We see interactions like this every day, and that's, again, fitting into the pride kind of box that I talked about. So these are the things we love to see as administrators. I looked at a few guidance offices on Twitter. Is there anyone in the room that uses Twitter for guidance? Awesome. You're probably not in this list though, right? It's possible, but literally I just typed in guidance and then these guidance officers showed up. So they're being pretty successful. So these in particular have about 100 followers on average, which is pretty substantial. From the looks of it, most of them are students. So a lot of them are students, a lot of them were universities, a lot of them were colleges or other institutions. They're tweeting, like probably you're tweeting. For the ones that are using Twitter, are you mostly tweeting the university or college visits?
Yeah, exactly. Who's coming, or volunteer opportunities as well, or hashtagging our volunteering.
Good. That's awesome. Yeah. So have you seen a better response to some of this since?
We've just gotten into it now.
Okay.
We're seeing our numbers grow.
Excellent.
But we're just waiting for more.
Yeah, exactly. So these are, anyways, ones that you can follow. When you look at scholarship opportunities, there's tons of different companies and people that promote scholarships throughout the country that are tweeting them all the time. And what you can do as a guidance office is just, without having to do that work yourself, you can just retweet those scholarships and awards, right? So if you look at a place like studentawards.com that has a really significant presence on Twitter and a really substantial following, it's easy for you to tap into the work that they're already doing and share some of their content for the benefit of your students. The one I kind of highlighted was Westmount Guidance. I don't know if you know Westmount, they're out of Toronto, but they're doing a really good job to be able to engage students. They have about 650 followers. They have, they're retweeting institutions. They're being retweeted by other institutions and students. And they had a pretty substantial kind of following in terms of the students saying, hey, I'm going to go to that presentation. Or, the students, I saw a retweet where they tagged 2 of their friends and said, hey, let's go to this presentation, for example. So it's helping them make the connections between the goals of the guidance office and the tools that we're using here today. Yeah, question?
How are you finding out what's being retweeted? So if we've got Twitter,
yeah.
Can we search to see if anybody is retweeting?
Absolutely, yeah. So when you click on that tweet itself, it'll tell you how many people retweeted it. If it's not telling you that, it's because no one has right now. Okay, there you go. There you go.
I guess what I'm thinking about is we've we've done a couple of prizes, right?
Yeah,
so if you
good.
follow us on Twitter, we're going to have a draw for something, right?
Cool.
And so we've done some of that, but I'm just wondering if maybe our prizes should be linked to somebody who retweets
Yes,
something that we
yes.
put in.
So one thing that we do a lot, we have, you know, events and concerts and tickets to things. So what we'll do is we'll say if you retweet this message in the next 12 hours, you're entered for a chance to win 2 tickets to whatever concert it is. So we'll end up with like 20 or 30 retweets, 20 or 30 people are engaged plus their networks, and then, you know, we give the tickets to 2 of the people. And then when they come collect them, we'll take a photo of them, tag them, and then they'll retweet it so that, you know, everyone sees there's a winner and there's value in following our channel. So yeah, always try to incentivize the action that you want ultimately, and if that ultimate action is to be able to promote your events, that's what you should be incentivizing, right? Yeah.
So the kids tell me that it's not cool to be following more people than you have following you.
That's right.
So they're very selective of who they follow. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, the way that they look at it, right, it's the whole kind of psychological dynamic, right? If you're popular, it means that more people care about you than you care about them. You know? That's the way that it's perceived. So what my legitimate advice would be is that don't request to follow people that are private, okay? So some students might have their tweets as private. Don't request to follow them.
We don't follow anybody.
Oh, okay. well, you,
That was their big fear, is they didn't want us following them.
exactly.
We said, no, it's going to be one way.
Yeah, and that's fine.
We don't want to follow.
So the way that you can still be cool then is to go and follow all the institutions, you know, go follow the people that are putting out scholarship information and that kind of stuff, and you'll be able to build that network, not just the students, but your network probably that exists with other schools.
Follow universities.
Yeah, for sure, and then other people that are, you know, tweeting information about stuff that would be pertinent to your students. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good. So quickly summarizing how to get involved, things we've talked about already, but the rewards are your students are going to be more engaged, and hopefully they're coming. That means, you know, achieving some of your business goals as the guidance office and saying, okay, we want more students at presentations, or ultimately we want students to hear what we're saying more often. This is a way to do it. It's also a way to get feedback, right? Like I was kind of saying, that unsolicited feedback that we're able to take from students and change our day-to-day operations. You can also kind of see what they're saying about you, right? And make changes along the way. Obviously there's risk involved. I'm not going to say that there is no risk. When you do jump in, you say, okay, we're going to be on Twitter or whatever network it is, you do create an expectation that you'll reply to things. So if you are there and students send you a legitimate question, hopefully you're able to answer it kind of the same day, or, you know, maybe the next day, but even then that's getting a little bit long. But if you're replying, you know, 3-4 days later, that student probably found the answer somewhere else, right? So that's kind of my recommendation, is that if you can reply within a day, and forget the weekend, but if you can reply within a business day, that's pretty good. And ultimately, if you are getting involved, I'd say start with Twitter specifically, because that's where you'll get the most bang for your buck right now in terms of engaging students. Facebook is becoming less popular with students, however, it's still the top dog, and it still will be for a while. And lastly, LinkedIn. I think as the changing landscape of LinkedIn takes place kind of throughout the province, I think it'll become more and more important for some of our educators to have profiles on LinkedIn. And it helps you stay connected with your colleagues, right? If you have a really good initiative at your school, you can share it on LinkedIn. Your colleagues from other schools can see it, and it's an information share. And that's all that I had today. Any questions? Yes. Thanks, Brady.
What is your opinion on staff members, guidance counselors, etc., being friends on Facebook or with their students and vice versa? 'Cause I have a lot of students, I don't have LinkedIn, but a lot of them email me to ask me to go on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Some of them have asked me in meetings about joining Facebook, and I don't do it, but what, on a professional level, what's your opinion, or legally, what's the problem with that?
Yeah, so I'll start with Facebook in saying that if you operate Facebook the way most people do, and it's kind of a personal sharing tool, don't mix the two. what you can do is that there are professional networks for that, like LinkedIn, for example. Like everything on your LinkedIn profile should be, anything that you put on there is public knowledge, okay? So anything you're putting on there should be your public face, your professional face, that you can engage with anyone there. So I would recommend, if students do invite you to LinkedIn, that's fine. A lot of students, I think, like I'm saying, in the future, I think a lot of students will look for recommendations from teachers to appear on their LinkedIn profile because that's what they're going to be using to get those summer jobs in the future. There's a way of endorsing people for certain skills on LinkedIn specifically. It's built for this type of engagement. So if just rule of thumb, I would say no to Facebook. Twitter, it's your call, but it doesn't really matter in the end because everything you tweet is public. Hopefully, don't pretend that it's not. And then on LinkedIn, I would say, connect with as many people as possible. And ultimately, if it is students, then that's fine because you're probably helping them achieve their goals as well. Good question. Anything else? Okay. Thanks very much. I appreciate it. There you go. Thanks. You're welcome.